At Vibra Finance, we seek out the hidden gems in cryptocurrency. We will tailor your portfolio to work for you. Are you ready to transition your investments from traditional markets to cryptocurrency? Are your coins staked and earning interest? Are you overwhelmed with all the jargon in crypto? Is your portfolio underperforming and you want to reposition into consistent winning blue chip coins and viable projects? Do you feel like you missed out on DeFi, Metaverse, and NFTs? Here at Vibra Finance, we provide you with the data, skills, and tools you need to stay on top of the digital asset market. Vibra Finance. We are the future of crypto.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Vibra Live. Tonight, kind of switching it up a little bit, having a guest on here. Nothing really going on today. I mean, there's no point of just beating a dead horse. You know, the markets right now, we need the Fed to pivot, some kind of catalyst. You know, otherwise we're just gonna, I think, keep chopping a little bit. But August typically is a good month for crypto, so the time is ticking. You know, and we're either going to pump or we're not. So we got our bags packed. You know, all we can do is unfortunately sit here and wait, you know, try not to take part in all the just nonsense that goes on in crypto, the toxicity. You know, I keep it positive here. There's always something good going on. You know, right now, Titan X, all Jake stuff, really pumping hard today. So it's nice to always have something in your portfolio. When shit's bad over here, you take a look over to the other side and all right, there's something over there that's moving. So it feels good. And, you know, look at the bubbles, not much going on. You know, Zcash up a little bit, Helium, Crypto.com, Toncoin, and our baby Quant. But other than that, you know, it's the weekend. I don't really expect much to happen. Typically, not much does. Like NXRA down more. You guys, this is bad. This is bad. Might have to just bite the bullet. Cubic up a little bit more. You know, we're eyeing that, DCAing in. But yeah, guys, it's another day. Feels like a bear market, but we're right in that tweener part. If we look at the charts from 2016 and 2020, literally this part of August, we started dumping and recovered, went sideways for a couple days and just popped off. So who knows what's going to happen? We'll play it day by day, but forget the alpha, forget that. We got something special tonight. We got our friend PulseLorian joining us. He's been on the channel multiple times. He's built a phenomenal ecosystem. You know, I just want to try to highlight people that are here supporting the ecosystem, actually building projects that don't even need humans to buy them. You know, once you set up liquidity pools, Hart's Law, the arbitrage bots, there's so much more to crypto than just buying your coin and holding it. And that's what PulseLorian is excelling at.
Yeah, thanks for the intro, Vibra. Yeah, and glad to connect again and just, you know, talk Pulse Chain, crypto in general, and then talk a little bit about what we're doing. So that's awesome.
Yeah, man. So yeah, last time you were on the channel, probably the end of last summer when I think it was the only time when Pulse Chain actually had some good stuff going for it. PDI was happening, Tropa. There was all these mysteries. What was going on? Who was behind all this? Could it be Richard? And it kind of led to people coming onto the chain. You know, projects were being built. Everything was going great. And then I don't know what happened. We lost the momentum.
Yeah, man, it's been hard. I mean, you know, just Pulse Chain is not performing in general, and then that's just making everything else tank, right? Richard's being sued by the SEC, so we know he's laying low, you know, for a while. And yeah, there's been tons of like grifters and scammers, you know, which is kind of expected, you know, some value extraction, and then people just kind of turning on each other, right? Which supposedly we should be working together. But yeah, we've been building, and you know, we've just been trying our best to just offer, you know, like superior value, you know, to Pulse Chain community when it comes to, you know, contracts that work as intended, you know, that can offer, you know, some sort of value in the arena that we're in, which is more the yield tokens, the reflection token space, right? And obviously we'll keep always building. We'll never abandon anything. We just need to see more demand for Pulse Chain as a whole right now, right? And but yeah, we've never stopped building since day one. We never abandoned anything, and then as it is right now, at least our ecosystem is pretty well structured the way we envisioned. It's just a matter of getting, you know, that capital inflow, Pulse Chain start pumping, and then communities in general, not just ours, but Pulse Chain communities in general start working together, spreading the word out. And then, yeah, we could always expand into other chains. We can always do more development and to include more stuff into the ecosystem. But as it is right now, it's already solid what we have in terms of contract development. And obviously, I can dive as deep as you want to go. But just saying those that 2 cents of mine.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what, like, it's tough right now. You know, there's people are trying so hard to just keep launching new products. You have people that are just launching scams, and it's just every there's so much just on the drama, toxic, whatever you want to call it. It made me just say, you know what, I'm not even dealing with this. I'm gonna just go have fun on base, or I'm gonna just go do my own thing, because I don't even it's gonna get better. And if you could just get, and that's unfortunate because we need everybody here promoting it, you know, talking to everybody. We saw last summer when the PDI narrative was huge. Everyone was talking about it on social media, and new people were coming on chain. And without that, you know, there's meme coins on all these chains now. There's so many VC chains out there that are just like VC pump and dumps that are launching memes everywhere, and it's grabbing people's attention. So if we're not careful, you know, it can stay ugly because there's so many. It's just a different market. Like, it really is a casino everywhere. People say, oh, Pulse Chain's the casino. I don't think so. I think Solana's the casino. Base is the casino. We're like I don't even know anymore.
We're the underdog. We're the underdog. No, yeah. And then but market is just, crypto in general is not as easy as it used to be. You know, just buy whatever coin that's like hot, and you'll get a, you know, easy 10x or, you know, 100x or whatever, as it was back in like 2017 or whatever. And it's a lot more fragmented, a lot more competitive, and like people are just pumping out meme coins after meme coins, and, you know, so many rug pulls. And to Pulse Chain's credit, you know, although a lot of these chains like Solana, you know, like recently Base, it might have more transaction volume, but I'd say it's equally as hard building a project there, or, you know, getting the attention, because it's just so many meme coins and so many rug pulls. Like, people's expectation of longevity for a project, for an investment, it's not even there. You know, people don't trust it because you know it's gonna last 2 days a pump, you know, before.
Bro, it's so bad. I did a stream on Solana and how bad it was. It was it was earlier this week, and the blatant lies. They came out and said, "Oh, there's only 8 million coins. We're not building an Explorer. You know, the community can build one." So within a month, the community builds an Explorer. They find 13 million coins that are just out in other wallets, and they're like, "Oh, we lent those out to an exchange, and we're only going to get 30% of them back now." Just the blatant lies. Like, right now, counting these honeypots that have $300 in volume as $250 million liquidity pools. It's just complete fake nonsense. And like 98% of the coins are scams. And it's like, I went over there and I got sick of it. I was like, you know what? Screw this. Like, you cannot buy a random project unless you know the founder, someone told you about it, you're in the community. You cannot just go to Dex Screen or find a new coin that launched. Like, it's going to be a rug pull. And even if you make the slightest mistake, you click the wrong contract, like, you're going to get scanned, bro. And
or they'll just
enjoy that.
Or they'll just abandon it, even if it's not a scam.
Yeah.
Like, let it die and go next pump. Yeah, and I think that's one of the differentiating like factors for Pulse Chain. I think we still have, as a community, Pulse Chain, we still have that grassroots movement, cypherpunk, you know, where we know Pulse Chain will be around for the long term. There's just too many like hardcore like believers and content creators, and the fact that it's down in comparison to these other chains, it's actually a positive in terms of that you have better risk reward, and things are there are certain builders that are building stuff on Pulse Chain that they're building it to last. They're building it to for real. It's not going to be okay. Deploy the meme coin. It pumped. Now it's done. Type of thing. So, and that's what we're trying to do, right? At least on our ecosystem, we're trying to give people a place where they can like trust that the contracts are built to last. Nobody's going to mess with it. The supply is fairly distributed. Everybody gets a chance to like snag a good position size, and and I 100% share like your perspective for people to tone down like the approach with regards to crypto in terms of like this get rich quick like scheme and just getting into new hot thing, but treat it as a long-term investment where within 10 years, if you DCA, if you pick you diversify your portfolio and the right coins, you can really get like life-changing gains, and be set free from this matrix type of thing.
Yeah, bro, because it just made me cringe when there was all these guys were saying, oh, PulseX is going to 10,000x. Like when it launches, the buy and burn's going to just buy every coin up, and PulseX is just going to do 1 billion X right off the gate. And it was such a bad, it was just such a lie, bro, because during the sacrifice, we did a pool. We pooled money together to get a better rate. And when we had 20 people that got in on it, and 70% of them for PulseX said, I missed the Pulse sacrifice, so I got to go hard on this one so I can sell PulseX and buy my Pulse chain when it launches. Mm-hmm. So I had already known 70% of our sacrifice was going to get sold for freaking Pulse chain right when it came out. So I was telling people, I don't think it's going to do more than a 6 to 10x at most when it comes out, because everyone I know is going to be selling to get back into Pulse chain. And sure enough, it came out and we did nothing. What we did like 10x or something on Pulse chain, I think from the launch.
Yeah, I think we got up to 0.003 or something, right? 3 zeros and a 3. I don't know. I don't remember. But we did a nice pump. Yeah. It was a nice 10x, right? Like something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't remember the exact numbers. But on the positive side, if you look at PulseX, right, it's been like performing really well against Pulse. That ratio just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. It just keeps all-time high.
Imagine if it gets 1-to-1 and both hexes get 1-to-1.
Yeah, which shows that those tokenomics, they work, right? And that's what you want to hold, right? An asset that's deflationary, that there's some utility behind, right? And then assuming there's demand for that asset, it's just gonna keep getting more scarce, right? And it's just gonna keep getting more valuable against Pulse. And then the demand obviously needs to be there, right? But that's with any sort of business in life. And but yeah, because fiat will just keep getting debased, and your dollars are just gonna keep getting worth less. And in 10 years, I don't know, like that bill they usually pay for, like that cost 1,000, maybe you'll be like spending 5,000, like as if it's 1,000. Just because of inflation. So yeah, I'm bullish on PulseX. That's on within like the Richard Hart ecosystem. It's my pick. But yeah, what do I know? Like it's just obviously
I've all of them. I flip-flop back and forth so much that I was you know what, screw this, I'm just throwing it in the ink farm, and however it works out it'll be all right as long as you're in it for a long enough time. Yeah. And you put it in at the bottom. I don't think there's anything to worry about with the permanent loss. So it just makes it a little easier. That way you don't really have to choose one or the other. You have both and earn ink.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's just, I'm doing the exact same. Yep.
Yeah, and that's what Pulse Chain is about. The way that this chain was created, you can't do certain things. Like when we launched Pokey over on the DGen chain, we tried to set up like a A1A and a B2B around there where we were going to try to have these different liquidity pools, and the bots wouldn't really do anything. It wasn't the same as on Pulse Chain, so it didn't work. And we were like, wow, we were just assuming, oh, let's just copy you on Pulse Chain and just do it over here. No, it doesn't work like that. You can't do this on every chain. Pulse Chain is so special. So, just if people can zoom out and just have a longer time horizon and think, okay, when ETH first launched, imagine if I got into Aave early. Imagine if I got into, all these other protocols really early that are, Gnosis and, a lot, anything. That's where we are now, and we have coins that are deflationary. There's never been anything else like this. So who knows which coins are going to be the best ones? That's why if you just diversify and can just zoom out and say, all right, we've already burnt 5% of the supply of PulseX. Where is this going to be in 5 years from now? 30%.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. It truly is. Despite all like the scenario that didn't play out like as we expected in terms of gains, for me, it's still one of the best blockchains to be in crypto. Just because it's layer one and decentralized, the community is solid, and the tokenomics, like fundamentals of the chain and of PulseX, it's superior to what has been built previously and that we know already performed really well. Yeah, I'm still, I think that's why not many people like truly make it, in terms of like those real gains. It's just they don't have the stamina to stay in the long run, right? And keep believing. Yeah, I'm definitely bullish on like PulseX, Pulse Chain. It's just gonna be once things turns around, and the market starts getting bullish, Pulse Chain gets bullish for whatever reason, it will be the whole sentiment will change in the flip of a second. You'll see everybody turn bullish and like start throwing rocket emojis everywhere, memes, and it will be all.
It happens so fast. It's
Yeah.
like within 2 weeks, we could be at a completely different sentiment where, going down, that's impossible. We're only going up from here. It happens so fast.
Yeah. Yep. Totally. So,
Yeah,
but
man.
man, like look at this screen of yours. Look how many different projects have been deployed, right? How many different tickers, and if you scroll down the Pulse chain, it's like everything has its logo. It's pretty solid. Like, and we have fiat on ramps, right, with like 0x Coast, and we have like a solid ecosystem. There's nothing lacking really, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's great. Look at that VRX.
Yep.
And RX are the only two that are up. On the day. Yeah. Everything else, most everything is bleeding, but that's all right, guys. Richard, he's so polarizing when he streams, when he's on social media, and I know he can't be on social media right now. I would bet my life that his attorneys are controlling everything, or if they're not controlling them, every tweet he's running it by them before he posts it, because he's not going to take any chances. So I just don't know how we can be that successful. And would he even try and waste money on some kind of marketing push or green candles and stuff without being able to get on camera, get on stream, and like hype the people up? I just don't. I think he would just wait a little bit. I mean, how long is Gary going to be here for?
Yeah. I mean, I think he's doing what he has to do, right? He's in the middle of this lawsuit, and it's actually good that we don't depend entirely on Richard, right? That we can push the chain forward ourselves, because we don't ever want to rely on just one guy or like his SEC funds to pump the chain. But obviously he has major weight on everything. But yeah, I mean, like I think after October, after his like lawsuit case, that we get some updates. I think hopefully, very positive. uh I think things will, and also I think you said yourself, right? August is like bullish month, right? September could turn bullish. I think we're because it's been down so much, right? Some point we start going back up,
Yeah, how long can ETH stay? Like ETH hasn't done shit. ETH
Yeah,
literally
same.
hit like barely touched 4K in like March.
Yeah, yeah,
And so we haven't even come close to its all-time high. And I just wonder, it kind of feels ironic that the ETFs for Bitcoin, almost all people now can buy the ETFs. As of August 7th, accounts with like $1.5 million had access to the ETFs.
uh-huh.
So we're really close now to the floodgates opening up for the ETH ETF. And when that money starts coming in and ETH starts actually moving up, that's when the whales could take money out of ETH and actually spread it into the altcoins. You can't do that with Bitcoin, really. They pump the ETF there. I don't know. It's just different. I think
Yeah,
ETH is going to be the catalyst.
totally. And there's so much in our favor too. There's maybe Trump presidency, right? Like the guy's bullish
Yep.
on crypto. I mean, it seems, right? Obviously, we have to see if he will stay true to his word, but it seems it's going to be very bullish. And I bet, Fed will start money printing, and then also that's more like liquidity into markets in general. It will be. I think it's going to be bullish. I think 2025. uh, But then again, I'm just a peanut brain. But I think it'd be like certainly very, very, very bullish.
Yeah, and if let's say if like there's no way we just we rip for a year straight. So we're either gonna get like a nice pump now, and then when they cut rates in the September meeting, it might get uglier. So, but I just don't feel that into an election. So I feel like it'll stay bullish for a little bit into the election, into November, and then maybe cool off for 6 months. People will be saying, "Oh, it's dead, it's dead, it's dead," or never come back, and then when people last expect it, we make another run next year. There's so much that's happening. I just don't see this cycle being a letdown. The whole point of crypto is to confuse people, shake you out of your bags. They're not going to make this easy where it's like, all right, guys, here's the bull market. We have 4 weeks left. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to be different narratives that are moving different. It's going to be a different rotation to try to throw people off. So it's not just, okay, Bitcoin, ETH, altcoins. No, it's not going to happen like that. It's going to be, we'll see meme coins and then L2s or DPIN, AI. I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's why you got to be here and
The
be
market is
diversified.
one thing is for sure. Market is harder now, right? Right. It's more fragmented, so it's harder to spot like where the winners are.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion, but yeah.
And that's why with Pulse Chain, I just made it so much easier for myself. I literally said, all right, I'm going to select a bunch of these coins here. We're in the first like 3 months. It's the first 6 months of Pulse Chain launching. We're in at such low entry points. If we could just buy a little bit of these coins, a 0.5%, a percent of these, the supplies, the amount of reflections you're getting, and then the deflationary part, like you just have to hold. It becomes like the what's a NFTs. It becomes a waiting game almost. Well, like a game of chicken, and you just hold, and it's inevitably going to go up. It's impossible. And then people just, instead of dumping, just create a liquidity pool and make a couple new pools for the bots to go around to, which is a little bit more volume, which is a little bit, that wheel just keeps spinning. And I think people don't understand how it really works. Yeah, I think it's so new to a lot of people that once it clicks, you really have to study and pay attention. So I think it's going to take a little bit, but people will come around. They'll start seeing it.
And crypto is still like so new, right? It's still in its infancy. People have heard of Bitcoin. They might have bought Bitcoin on a Coinbase app or something, or Robinhood. But who really, like, from like the people in general you meet day to day, is like doing DeFi or yield farming or like bridging into an L2 and like that sort of thing, right? It's and we are the the people who are really ahead of the curve, and Like we have no idea where crypto is gonna like land, right? It's like 20 years from now, it's
And that's the thing. Like it's Amazon 20 years ago was like $6 a share, and it was just going sideways, sideways, sideways. But the same thing. If it would be like the equivalent to Pulse Chain, where nothing's happening, but if there's way more building, there's the more influencers. Everything is just all the metrics are stacking up, but the price isn't reflecting it. And that's the problem with all of crypto. Everything is ass backwards. The stuff, the memes, the junk is worth nothing. And the stuff that's valuable is just worth nothing right now.
True.
But it's all right. It comes and goes, and the community will come back together and reunite over something, a victory, pumps, whatever it is. People will all come back together. I know it.
Totally. Yeah, it's part of the game, and it's what makes it fun, right? To like, it's the fact that it's hard, that it makes it like once you get there, it makes it the victory so much sweeter. So that's my
yeah. Like that I just can't imagine that the judge down in Manhattan there at the Supreme Court. I don't think there's ever been more than like one person that's walked into a courtroom and just like listened to some random case. And when this thing comes up and there's 300 people packed in there, I think it's going to be like a what the hell? And like, I don't know how you going to keep continuing that way. For the first time ever, you have a packed courtroom. All these people are fighting for one person. There's nobody on the other side. It's
True.
like, imagine if they got dropped or something, or while we were all down there, we got to use like, the community actually made this happen and we got actual recognition for it. Like that would be so awesome.
True. 100%. Yeah. The way I foresee it, I see Richard winning this by like a landslide, I don't see any issues whatsoever.
I mean, he already pretty much used AI and found like 20 old court cases that prove every one of his points that he's making. I think he pretty much did all of the attorney's work already and gave it to him. And it was like, here's why I win. I remember the tweets from last year. And he was referencing all these old cases and stuff. It was like, holy shit. Like this guy he's so far ahead. And if totally. I was saying, if Ripple got strung for 4 years through the mud and they have endless money. I mean, they have $1 billion to spend on marketing next year, and they spent hundreds of millions on attorneys through that fight. So I don't want that to happen, like to Richard. Like it could be, they could make it nasty if they want to, and there's just no case there. I mean, it's so frivolous, and I just see a change in the SEC if crypto starts becoming political, and we need it, and it's now. We can't let it get to the enemies. We need to have all the building and the progress done here in the United States.
It already is like
They're
that.
Going to dismiss.
Yeah. It already is like that, right? Like Trump is laying down like the line, right? Yeah, saying that basically crypto is going to be in the US, like all the innovation, all the business, he plans it to be in the US.
Yeah. And now, according to Polymarkets, Kamala Harris is like even with Trump in the votes. And I was watching a stream today with this guy named, I think it was Jim Wiley. He's like 70 years old. And this guy was an absolute legend. And he was just like, Trump has probably a 50% lead. They're just fudging everything. That's what they do. He said they're using these online polls and these online betting markets to just rig them. He said, instead of spending $100,000 at some stupid event, go give it to this crypto bro, have them make all these bets on Kamala Harris. And now you can have all the news articles tweeting some asshole that says Kamala Harris is even with Trump, according to Polymarkets. Now it's fact. It gets spread around everywhere. Now it's Kamala Harris is even
No way.
Dude, that's what they're doing, bro. They're using Polymarkets to influence and make people think that Kamala Harris is actually way closer than she is.
Yeah. My opinion, there's no way she wins. Like, if she wins, there's something seriously wrong with the U.S.
Well,
itself.
that's why that's
The
for
US
because if I was just
is
talking about that, if she
not-
wins, it was done on purpose to show that the voting system is just completely destroyed here. Because if you had listened to Trump,
Yeah.
one of his speeches, he clearly said, you know, guys, if I win, you guys will be so good, you'll never have to vote again. And it's like, wait, what? Why would you say like almost like he knew this was going to be the last election?
Yeah. I mean, like that deep state stuff. I mean, you saw the assassination attempt. That was crazy, you know. And man, he has to win, you know, no doubt. Otherwise,
it's all to distract us too, and like it's meant to suck all your attention or look over here while something else is happening on the other side that they don't want you to really see. And is it the crypto stuff? Is it, who knows what it is? But the less you can get distracted by that stuff and just, you know, stick to your senses, stick to common sense, stick to stuff that benefits you, that helps you. Like none of this shit matters at all. Like who's president doesn't affect your life one bit. Like your day-to-day life, you know what I mean? What it's just it's movies for adults. We figured it out. It's politics is literally so adults who suck at life and you know they're degenerates. They gamble. They go out drinking every weekend. They mess with strippers. They can't stop watching porn. They're in debt. It's Joe Biden's fault. It's the damn liberals' fault. You know, my pockets are tight because of Kamala Harris. No, you're a degenerate piece of shit and you need an excuse. And that's what politics is it gives an excuse for people to like blame all their problems on. And it's so true. It's like it's a reflection of the morality of the people. If people are always looking for victim and someone to blame, they're going to give you that person. If people took responsibility, they would never vote in some fucking victim conscious freak. Like it would never
rioting on the streets.
Never happen.
Yeah. That's the whole reason why we're in pulse chain, right? Why we're in crypto, you know? It's just put an end to all of this like phoniness, right? It's just the system needs change, right? Like we need to stop, like put an end to like this system of, you know, taxation, debt, inflation. It's slavery, basically.
It really is. Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
Did you know that within 3 years, almost 96% of income tax is going to go to paying back old interest, not even only interest.
Yeah. Somebody is
like, who
credit card.
Who in the right mind is going to go work all year long and give 40% or whatever, 30% of their money to the government so it can pay back money that they just blew?
Yeah,
it went nowhere. We don't have better roads. We have worse schools, worse infrastructure.
Yeah. And what's crazy to me is how can they blow so much money away, you know? And it's just like they tax you when you buy stuff. They tax you when somebody sells something. They tax you when somebody dies, when, you know, inherent.
Yeah.
Everything. Everything is taxed. And they still
you buy
go broke. You know, it's just
bro. And so I've been really looking into that and trying to like why is this? Why is everything like this? We just dump money across Ukraine. We give money to Africa. We give money to all the Middle East, and we have to. It keeps.
Yeah, it's just a deep. It's just that evil cabal on top. I don't know who's running the show. Obviously, it's behind the scenes, but yeah, they're controlling. You know, every like the key players, they're just like pawns to these people who truly have the ability to, you know, print money out of thin air, basically.
It's bankers basically, and it's the CIA going into other countries and making sure that the leaders play ball. You know, making sure that the next Gaddafi doesn't come along and try to put that country on a gold standard and, you know, take the advantage, because every single country will ship billions of dollars to Ukraine for whatever, but we're benefiting in some way. We're getting cheap napkins, or we're getting cheap blankets, or we're getting something. We're benefiting by just printing money and sending it over there. It doesn't cost us a thing. So we have to go in there, destabilize all these other countries, bribe people who we want to overthrow, and then create chaos, turmoil. So somehow the United States can come out with a surplus, some kind of benefit, or some kind of deal where that country is now in debt to us or owes us, or they become reliant on us. We keep giving them stuff. They slowly stop growing some food. They slowly stop. They ease up on a couple things. And after 20, 30 years, you're now dependent on us without even realizing it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why they do it. And it keeps America just fat and sitting on the top, and we don't have to work. We can import everything. We can have anything we want from around the world, from fruit to tropical stuff to seafood, anything you want, you name it, it's here. And that's because we own every single country out there. And it's really deep. It really, like, it makes a lot of sense when you like, when you can, like, someone actually breaks it down for you and like, no, it's so much deeper. And you start to think about, they're like, oh, okay. And then it's like so much too of the military. Like, we just have a military force over every country. We have bases around the world. So they do anything stupid, you're getting bombed. So we just have this power and control over everyone. And it keeps the dollar strong, because the dollar is backed by, the only thing I would say the dollar is backed by is the force of the United States military.
Yeah,
because you do something, we're coming at you.
Yeah, but you're seeing these BRICS, like start coming together, like Russia, China, etc. And they're not like, I think Russia just recently made like cryptocurrency mining legal, right? And they're
trading too.
Yeah, they're trying to ditch the US dollar and like do the trading between them. I don't know. There's just also there's also like significant players on the other side, right? Too, but yeah, definitely US has the
and we caused it all. But like, just like I was saying, how we go over, we create chaos, we do something in these other countries. Well, with Russia, what do? Oh, we're going to go in there and we're going to sanction you, and you're not going to be able to use the banking system. So what did they do? They just used Tether, and crypto became their lifeline, and that pissed them off even more. And now that's why they're trying to sanction and ban Tether everywhere. And they outlawed it in Europe. They banned it in the United States. No exchanges can use it, all because people used it after the United States sanctioned them. Like, you can't fuck people over like that and stress them and disrupt their lives for no reason like that. The civilians had nothing to do with that. And it's going to make them hate America and not want to. It's going to make the country get around the dollar. And that's exactly what happens. Now you have all these countries that are trading oil, trading commodities with each other, and not paying with the dollar.
Yeah.
So we lose out on that.
Yeah. But in the end, definitely way forward. Like, if we want to like keep the power of the US, I mean, like, it's definitely like need to be like foster a crypto friendly environment. There's no way around it. Yeah.
So I was listening to that guy Jim Wiley, I think is his name, and he was talking about that $. Someone brought up de-dollarization, and de-dollarization and the fact that the dollar isn't going to be used, or the dollar is going to shit. And he just started laughing, and he goes, whoa. He goes, you're just repeating shit that the media planted out there. He said, yes, de-dollarization is real in the sense that other countries are not forced to trade with the dollar. So Russia can use gold, they can use the yuan, whatever it is. They don't need to trade in dollars. Well, in Japan right now, what they're doing, they are dumping treasuries, right?
Yeah.
And that made their currency drop like crazy, which it's the actual backwards. If de-dollarization was, and the dollar was going down, the currency would go up. It's actually the opposite, because Japan's currency, it's based and backed on the amount of reserves and treasuries they hold. So the more they start liquidating treasuries, the less their currency starts becoming worth. So they're shooting themselves in the foot. And now the United States is saying, you better stop selling. And these guys are saying, we have no choice. Like, we're screwed. We just tried to raise rates. It lasted 3 days. So it really is interesting, bro, that the stuff that like the mainstream media pumps out there and what's really going on, it's completely different. And it's like, holy shit, once you start to hear from other people that are, you know, older, they've lived around the world, they know what's going on. You just hear a complete different story. It's like, what the hell? Why isn't everyone told this stuff? Like, how do we not have some kind of decentralized social media platform where we can go on and just, you know, put news, like good news and positive stuff out there? Like it doesn't exist, because that would help people. And all these platforms and agendas, they want degeneracy, they want, you know, Mr. Beast, insanity, win a ton of money, kill yourself if you lose, like just people going crazy. They don't want anything that actually helps people or provides a solution. All that stuff is banned. You try to put up a video about organic farming, you're taken down and banned for like disinformation. It's like, what the hell? But you could put porn up all day. Okay, that makes sense, you know?
It doesn't make sense. Yeah. Even X, you know, despite it being like really good recently with Elon, I would not trust it entirely. You know, it's still centralized to some degree. You know, we need like decentralized social media. That'd be awesome.
And bro, like, think of like, I remember when Facebook first came out, like our college in 2000 and maybe 5 or 6, we were one of the first to get it because we had a .edu domain on our college, and Harvard was .edu, and there was only like 50 schools that had the .edu. So we were the first ones to get it. And it was the simplest thing ever. It was literally a little web page. You had your little like information, and then it was like a news feed where people would post a text message to it. And it was like, oh, this friend posted this. Then you would just see everyone's messages on there. That is the easiest, simplest app. Like the fact that it doesn't exist somewhere, like it has to be for a reason. They don't want something like that out there. They have to have control of everything. So that, like, just like you said with Elon, like, I don't trust it. Like, I don't believe it either. I don't believe that he's not being censored. So, like, he has to still play ball too, to a certain degree. He can't just go do whatever he wants. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, regardless of how powerful you are, right? How much money you have, like, people can always try to suicide you, you know, if you don't play ball, you know. And
that guy said in Japan, he said they're saying, you know, we're gonna start dumping the treasuries, like we have to. We're gonna buy gold. And he said, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if the what do you call them? The Raka killers sent some hitmen to Japan and started assassinating leaders over there. And he was dead serious. He's like, they're not gonna play games. Like, this shit is no joke. And it just blew my mind to hear that when these countries start unload, because that's what I thought. Like, once Japan starts selling treasuries, then all the other countries just start saying, oh shit, well, Japan's selling, they say they're selling 400 billion over the next 8 months. Well, we could front run them and come out better. And then it's just a race to the bottom. But if they do that, their currencies start getting devalued and the dollar starts getting stronger to the point where we're screwed. So we now, dude, it's the craziest thing. It's all inverted. So basically, these countries, they can't sell these too much of these bonds too fast. And the only way to do it is to put it into gold or something else, or start offering bonds that are backed or like come from the Japanese government or backed by like the real estate or something with their economy, and stop just buying foreign debt. And like the final last thing is, with that whole carry trade that we've been hearing about now, you know, you go borrow for free in the United States, go to Japan, or that's what they were doing in Japan. They were borrowing for free from the Fed and, you know, buying treasuries, making 6%. Do you know Wall Street through JP Morgan, they borrowed $20 trillion through the carry trade. And every year they were getting 6%. So they made $1.2 trillion in free money from these deals, and they put it all through these Swiss accounts and like offshore accounts and washed it all through there. And they never had to report it as profit to any of the JP Morgan, Chase. None of the banks had to report it to the board, to the shareholders, anybody. It was over $1 trillion getting moved into these accounts that just disappears.
That is
It's so criminal, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's I never heard that before, actually. So that's crazy, man. Yeah, that's
and now that if the U.S. cuts rates, they're gonna lose. I think they're gonna be in the hole $3 trillion when the U.S. cuts rates. So they're screwed now, and that's Wall Street now is who's in the hole. So this is that. I think they're saying he said that could be what breaks the banks in a couple months is the carry trade going officially backwards after we cut, and it just they can't sustain it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it just keeps getting worse, basically. We saw like a bunch of like banks just went bankrupt recently, right? Like was that Silicon Valley Bank? I think like Discover Financial, like just like not so long ago, like went bankrupt. Like I think it got in
Silvergate.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's insane.
And it was Signature Bank, Silvergate Bank, I think like Bank of Omaha or something. One in New York, like Long Island in New York. There were quite a few of them, but it was really funny. The bank, Signature Bank, that went under was completely solvent. That was the bank that had the brokerage. It was a clearinghouse for all the exchanges, for Binance, for Gemini, for Kraken, for Coinbase. All of them used this 24/7 clearinghouse. It was called Signet that Signature Bank had. So all the banks would just tap in and instantly move money around, settle anytime they wanted. And the Fed said, whoa, no, fuck that. We cannot allow this to happen. And they basically just did a hostile takeover. I just went in there, shut them down. They stole the technology and put it into a bridge bank now, and it's going to JP Morgan.
Damn. Yeah, JP Morgan is I suppose he's gonna own everything in the end, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like JP Morgan, Citibank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. There's like 8 banks. They want to basically have it be 8 to 10 banks that control everything. And that makes, I think there's 12 districts of the Fed. So have one bank for each little district there or something, and they're good to go. It's all they need. And then they control everything.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. So yeah, we should go
Did
ahead.
you hear who Trump might hire as the Treasury Secretary?
No, who?
Jamie Dimon.
Damn. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So JP Morgan,
yeah,
indeed is gonna own everything.
Dude, they already do. They own like a third of the central banks.
Yeah.
Or a third of the Fed, a third of the Fed, JP Morgan now owns.
Damn.
And they're just handing them everything. Like, I don't know what bank it was that went under. They didn't even have an auction for their assets. They just straight up handed it to them.
Wasn't it Warren Buffett that, like, I saw some news about him that now he holds more like treasury bonds than the Fed itself or something like that? I don't know, something crazy.
He owns 3% of all of them in the world.
Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah.
Yep. So which is more than it's like Tether's like a top 10 holder. He's probably in like the top 30.
Well, yeah. I just don't understand how these people they get to that level, and it's just like it's beyond me.
We could never do that as just a random person who's not born into one of those families or however that works. Like if you go look, like how is Berkshire Hathaway? They don't pay taxes. Did you know that?
Yeah, obviously, probably based some offshore like location.
No, they're in some deal they made. I don't know. I forget what it was. I used to know, but I think it was somehow they bailed somebody out, I think in 2008. And as a part of the deal, he said, we're never paying taxes again. And they okayed it. So they're the only one of the only corporations in the country that does not pay taxes. They're exempt.
So yeah. Yeah. That alone guarantee their hegemony, basically.
Yeah, and like he just sold half of his portfolio of Apple. Like I guarantee we did it through the company, so they paid no taxes on God knows how much Apple stock they just sold. Like, it's just not even fair.
277 billion or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's insane.
Oh well, bro. I've heard some crazy stuff from multiple, like not just like a Pulse Chain guy or an XRP or whatever. I've heard multiple communities and like some no coiners all say that Bitcoin is the ultimate Trojan horse. That everyone, like the Bitcoin, the developers, people inside Bitcoin, they realize that it came from the NSA. They know the intent, it never was from the people. So they want to use it as like the Trojan horse and get all of, like right now, the ETFs, hundreds of millions of dollars of everybody that has $1.5 million in an account. So you're talking about the top 1% of the country are pouring money into Bitcoin right now. And you know what their advisors, maybe we'll do 1 to 2%. Maybe next year, maybe we should kick that up to 5%. Yeah. And then 3-4 years from now, we should hit that up to 10% of your portfolio in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And then they rug Bitcoin and then just start dumping it to where it's unprofitable to mine, or one of the G7, G20 countries says, you know what, we're just going to tax the shit out of Bitcoin mining from now on. Sorry. And as soon as that happens and it becomes unprofitable for miners, it's screwed. So there's multiple ways that Bitcoin can be in big trouble in the future. And what a way to sell it to all the richest people and then have all the OGs and people that are here for the greater good liquidate everything and put it back into altcoins and build projects and do stuff actually for the people. Like, you could take a huge chunk of wealth from the top 1% and redistribute it through all the governments that are balls deep in Bitcoin. Like, you could cause some serious damage. And I would love to see that happen.
Yeah, I could foresee that scenario like easily. Yeah. It's not something that sounds like it sounds totally like, it sounds like it could happen. Yeah.
So, all right, bro. So say, right now, I want to go, I take $1 million Pulse or a couple million Pulse and I want to go buy some VRX or RFX and pair it up with Pulse Chain, or pair VRX and RFX up, or what would you do if you didn't have any of the coins in your ecosystem, any exposure to it, you were coming in?
Yeah, so I can give
what's your play?
I can give like a brief like intro and like just about our ecosystem, even maybe for the people who aren't as familiar. But so I'd say our ecosystem, like, I think we're pretty much like solidified as the best within Pulse Chain when it comes to these reflection types of contracts and yield tokens and reward tokens. And our contracts, they have a truly superior value proposition, right? Which I always say, it's like what you want to hold, at least for me, if I'm holding something long term. And that's why I like our contracts so much, is like, you want something that's deflationary, right? It's very deflationary. And then you want something that it also gives you some sort of yield, right? And something that there's an incentive to add liquidity, so that the price becomes stronger, it's more decentralized. And obviously, contracts, there are no admin keys, decentralized, the code is verifiable, so you can see what the code does. So if you scroll up, like, this is Reflux, right? It's one of our like strongest like assets, right? So basically you're holding it and you're yielding Pulse, right? Just by holding it. The way the contract works, it takes a fee on buys and sells, right? And then it converts that fee into Pulse and it redistributes to holders. But you can also earn by adding liquidity, right? So if you add liquidity and pair it with PLS on PulseX V2, you actually are entitled to 2 times the shares in those rewards, right, to be distributed. So you earn 2 times the rewards that get accrued. And then if you scroll up, which is pretty cool, because these contracts, all of our ecosystem pretty much, we launched it from scratch, a couple $100. So you see, it already yielded as a whole about 637 million pulse, and 1,300 token holders, 95 LP providers. So it's pretty decentralized. And you see how powerful these contracts are, Vibra. It's like, look at the amount of tokens that have already been burnt, 19.38%, and that's just with our small little community, people sometimes, buying $10 here, $5 there. That stuff adds over time, right? And then it's only going to get better in the future, right? And our ecosystem, the way we built it, right, all decentralized, like it's basically built to last, so no admin keys, right? So the thing is, Pulse Chain does like a 10x, right? Now those rewards that we've distributed is like $220,000 worth, for a contract that was launched with just a couple $100, in liquidity. So that is like true value getting delivered to the community, right? And then moreover, right, we have these contracts. This is just looking at just a single contract. They are actually very intricate, the whole way the ecosystem is tied up. So you have also this accelerator, right, which we talked about, is a buy and burn contract. So it kind of has a whale position. See, it holds about 2.6% of the supply plus some LP. And it's going to accrue rewards just like any other holder, right? And then what it does is once it reaches a threshold, it will either buy more of the asset, and basically it's bought and burned programmatically, right? Or it's going to add it to liquidity. So again, as trading goes on through time, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever, as people DCA into these assets, it's just going to get more scarce. It's just going to add more liquidity. There's going to be more buy and burn, and it's going to be more rewards being distributed in terms of like these metrics. They'll just only get better over time, right? And then it's been working like perfectly as designed, right? And obviously it took a huge dump. We saw whales cash out like tens of thousands of profit, and then obviously Pulse Chain is not helping right now, but that's where the opportunity is as well. And so that's just one contract itself, RFX, right, which is yielding PLS. But then in tandem, right, within other areas of the ecosystem, we have other contracts that they're yielding other stuff. So let's say, for example, I think if you pick, let it load.
Yeah, but when I hit go live, like my internet seriously shuts down like 50%. It's crazy.
Yeah, no worries. Maybe you can go home. Click. Yeah, it loaded.
There we go.
So, yeah, I was just gonna say, if you could
14.7. Wow.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. So all of these contracts, they have already a ridiculous amount of burn, and then this was actually like organic burn. It's just not like some of these contracts. Yeah, we did burn some supply at launch, but a lot of them are purely organic burn. It just burns so much, and it also yields so much, right? It's just you're holding an asset that's deflationary, and it's yielding like these best assets on chain, right? And so you're not getting any permanent loss. You're holding an asset that's more scarce and is pretty decentralized. Again, everything that I've just mentioned. But what I was gonna say is, throughout all of these contracts, there's some contracts that they all have their idiosyncrasies, right? There's some of these contracts, for example, I think like if you choose, I think PTG, like if you scroll down a little bit, maybe choose wealth, like WLT, like at the bottom, right? That earns PWETH, right, which is essentially PLS. It's 1-to-1. But if you
1-to-1, yep.
Yeah, but if you scroll down, and it burned already 10% of the supply. But if you scroll down,
yeah,
If you scroll down a little bit on the features, yeah, you'll see there. It also buys and burns reflux. So aside, there's on the third row there, 1.5% fee paid in PWETH, right? There's a 0.1% of sell fee used to buy and burn reflux. So it's not only yielding you PWETH, but it's also acting in tandem with reflux itself, where it's buy and burning reflux too. So and
Oh, I didn't know it was buying and burning reflux too. That's actually
yeah, so when somebody
that's
trades
cool.
wealth, it's actually generating like a transaction count, a little bit of buy and burn on reflux itself, and that's one example. There's other contracts that have like a secondary token that it buys and burns, such as Elixir or BSKR. So they're kind of all tied together, and despite of just yielding their primary asset, they also buy and burn other tokens within the ecosystem. And what happens is we have a yield farm within our ecosystem, right? And our yield farm is another way to stimulate liquidity throughout our protocols, throughout different pairs. Aside from the incentive liquidity that we do by giving like 2x the rewards for people who are providing liquidity. So Elixir is one of the tokens. There's several. It's not just Elixir, but it's one of the tokens that it's the incentive token for the yield farm, right? If you add liquidities and pair it with Elixir, so you see that Elixir, it's extended through the entire ecosystem. It's paired with Reflux,
Yeah.
Vortex, PDI, Wealth, so it's a zero fee token. So that's another thing. So we want a token that's zero fee because that helps those ARB bots come in and take a profit, like do their ARB more easily, right? And the thing is, the more pairs you have spread out through more protocols, it's more like price discrepancies between these different pairs, which stimulates the ARB, which in turn stimulates that burn, stimulates that yield, and it stimulates those tiny transactions in these different tokens that sometimes they're not just yielding the PWETH in the example of wealth, but it's also buy and burning reflux, right? And it's not just one. So to give you the reflux example, because obviously the ecosystem, it's like over 20 tokens, right? So to give you the example of reflux, reflux itself yields PLS, right? But then you have wealth, which yields PWETH, but it's also buying and burning reflux. But then again, you have another token, Apex, which we launched recently, which yields reflux itself, So it's not one contract doing that buy and burning of reflux. We have several contracts doing that, and it's there. The protocol, the ecosystem is built to target like specific contracts, to foster this buy and burn and this arbitrage within the ecosystem. And at the same time, we have the yield farm. So obviously, I gave you this reflux example. We have other tokens that target the buy and burn for Elixir, such as we have certain accelerators that will buy and burn Elixir. And Elixir, it's the yield farm token. It's an incentive token, hence it's inflationary, right? People tend to sell it. So what our ecosystem is doing, it is actually countering that inflationary pressure, right? And countering that dump pressure. So if you scroll up, yeah, and you see the
So
API.
I was just looking for the R. Okay, there's the VRX PLSX pool. Okay.
There's a PLSX, PLS pool. So there's
Yep.
third-party tokens, there's our tokens. But if you scroll up, and it should load in a
It's okay. My internet is so slow. This is insane.
Yeah, you can try just.
I cannot believe how slow this is.
Yeah, scroll up. It should show.
Oh, you got internet money pulse. That's cool. Well, that's the thing too. Like once, like I really, like Coach came on stream months ago, and he was just showing me a couple pools that he had created with PTGC and Hex and just like random pools, and there was not one human buy in months, and it was doing $400 to $500 in volume a day, and it was just the R bots going back and forth. So like once people like really understand this and start to build the ecosystem and throw more money into the pools, and the volume starts to increase and the liquidity starts to increase, everything just starts coming together.
Yeah,
And
it's exponential. If you scroll up a little bit more, I just wanted to show you something. Maybe refresh. Yeah, I think it will like just scroll like all the way like up. Yeah, you see on the first box, on the first container, on the left, you see the supply burned. Elixir already burned 16% of the supply.
Wow.
Yeah, so
there's not a set inflation rate. It's just like ink, right? The more people throw in, the more rewards come out.
Yeah, there's a mint rate of 0.1 per second, right?
Okay.
So, but again, it's getting countered, and you're earning an incentive token, right? But that it's also kind of like stabilizing. It's not inflationary, right? Because it's burning so much supply. Yeah, and it's what you said, right? It's exponential. As these protocols, they get more liquidity, right? And there's more arb, it's just going to burn a lot more. It's just going to yield a lot more. And it's just going to make these contracts so much more powerful. And the thing is, this is like a decentralized system, right? The Elixir is not just an incentive token. It powers a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, right? People can vote, right? So if you click on the top menu bar, on the nav bar, the DAO, like DAO, yeah, that's where you can, if you scroll down, people can like vote, right? With their Elixir, right?
Cool. There we go. Yeah.
Do their yield farming, and then basically the community decides, so it's a yield farm that's in the hands of the community, so if there's,
that's cool.
Yeah, so if you want to increase reward allocation for one pool, or remove a pool, or add a pool, or change the emission rate of the farm, like we submit a proposal and the community votes on it, whether it's going to be a go or
that's cool, bro.
Yeah, so cool. Yeah, so there's an incentive there to also hold and stack that Elixir, right? So and not only that, right? So we're launching all of these contracts that they yield, PLS, PLSX, all the best assets on chain, like Teddy Bear, PTGC, DAI, PDAI. There's so many, and it's endless, right? We can keep launching it, and it's just gonna strengthen this whole like LP web. It's just gonna expand it. It's just gonna give more opportunity for ARB. And so at current state, there's already 20 tokens deployed. More or less, and it also, these tokens are at a price where people can come in and snag like good sized positions, right? Where they're not going to be, like this is my take within crypto, right? And it's going to help bridge into what I'm going to say next. Like sometimes, obviously, there's the tokens you want to hold for the long term, like PLS, ETH, right, BTC, and obviously you have your other smaller ecosystems. But the way our ecosystem is built is to truly empower like the Pulse chain community, the Pulse chain user, and the way I see it, I think more and more people will deploy their own tokens, grow their own communities, because it's much better if you're in control, and then you're choosing, the kind of asset you want to deploy, whether it's going to yield you something, what type of yield you're going to get, what type of deflation you're going to get. And instead of like buying like all of these scams and rug pulls, or manipulated like medium-sized coins where you're at the mercy of a whale, whether you don't know whether the project's going to be abandoned 2 years down the line. So I'm more of like, you build your own castle, right? And you bring into that castle like your friends, your family, the people you share like those values and those belief systems. And instead of like going knocking around on other people's like castles, you know, and like being like a pleb begging for some, you know, yield. And yeah, and that's what we also, it's another feature within the ecosystem. If you go to that mint section, right? Mint section, yeah. So if you click there, so sorry, my dog is like barking. So
It's all good.
yeah, so you have that opportunity to also, we deployed several different contracts, and this is just, I've never seen anybody, not in other chains, not on Pulse chain, deploy these token factories with this level of detail and customization. So you have like several different contract options you can deploy. And basically, again, no admin keys, you know, it can verify it, will help you verify it. And then these contracts, when they get deployed, there are some negligible fees that feed back into the PulseLorian ecosystem. It's nothing that will hinder their contract. It's going to be, how do I say, like irrelevant, but it's tiny transactions that feed back into buy and burning, reflux, buy and burning, BSKR, for example. And what happens is it's basically limitless, right? Somebody comes here. Obviously, there's going to be people that will come here just to test out, deploy, not add any money or add like $10 of liquidity. But there's going to be people who might take it seriously because the contracts, you know, they work flawlessly. They've been battle tested. We've been using them, and there's no bugs whatsoever. And again, no admin keys, decentralized. So you can create your own ecosystem, decide what assets you want to earn, like be in total control, you know, and that itself, it's also strengthening like the PulseLorian ecosystem too. So, you know, deploy one contract, 10 contracts, 100 contracts, 200 contracts right down the line. Now there's 200 contracts that are being traded. And on every one of these contracts, there it's going to be like a tiny little fee that feeds back, and it's buy and burning. For example, Reflux, it's buy and burning, BSKR. So you have options there. If you click on you have like, for example, no fee, obviously, option, but you have like a burn plus fee. And then you can create contracts. This one, for example, it's a burn for burn plus fee, right? So you can have a contract that has a burn feature, but you can also have your own dev fee, right? So you can also earn as people trade your contract, which is what we want, right? We want to empower people like to like not just deploy a meme token that does nothing, but they have a token that's deflationary, and they can also have a fee that will help them, you know, foster their project in the long run as it becomes successful, right? It's creating a net revenue stream for them, for deploying other stuff, for marketing, for increasing liquidity, other liquidity pools. And then, for example, you have a reflection token, the next one. So if you click right next to that burn plus fee, reflect, yeah. So a reflection token that also has your own sell and your dev fee, right? And you can specify those percentages like very, very like customizable, right? You can, it's not like you're just deploying like a straight up 1% or 2% like reflection token with a 2% like reflection fee, right? Where the token redistributes itself to holders. No, you can specify a 0.5% burn fee on buy, a 1% fee on sell, and the yield fee you can specify to be 3% on the buy side and 2% on the sell side, and the dev fee is very customizable the way we did it. So
That's sick. Yeah, I like that.
To truly empower people, it's not like a basic, you know, like sometimes you'll see like maybe it's not common, like you'll see a lot of token deployers that will like can deploy your own no fee token. Sometimes you'll see one that includes a burn feature or a reflect feature, but it's always pretty basic. It doesn't give you the ability to get your own dev fee or specify these different percentages on the buy end or the sell side, right? And then you have a yield token where you can issue your reward token. We made it compatible. Like on the next section is the yield, and then there's the burn yield. So we have yield token where you earn a reward token. It could be PWETH, PLSXX, DAI, EDAI, PDAI, you know. DWB, whatever you want, you know, and it's compatible. We made it compatible with 9mm as well. Just keeping in mind that you need for this yield contract to work in particular, right? You need a V2 PLS pair on either exchange, right, for it to work. And then also a contract type that burns the yield. So it will not only yield you the reward token that you specify, like I'm deploying a contract to yield PLSX, but it will also buy and burn the PLSX. So you can specify the different percentages there, how much you want to buy and burn, how much you want to yield. So you can actually turn through one of these contracts, the burn yield, you actually can turn a contract that's not deflationary, the next one, into a deflationary contract. You can also airdrop it. There's like a little parachute like icon. You can airdrop them to your holders from the website. And yeah, there's some token settings that you can adjust on the yield token case, right? Our contract is designed so that LP providers, they earned, you know, twice the rewards, for example. But there's nothing stopping you from making that reward 3 times or 4 times or 1.5 times, or stimulate the liquidity and those shares of that reward token in other pairs. It doesn't need to be specifically on the PLS pair. It could be also on the PLSX pair, on the Inc pair, or whatever pair, right? There's a yield token settings there on the gear icon, where you can specify, you know, if you want to target different liquidity pools. Yeah, that's the burn yield token. So you can set up a burn yield fee and the yield fee, right? So you can literally set up a contract that will
airdrop. Nice.
Yeah, so you can airdrop it there. You can set up you can check like your contract details. You can renounce the ownership. You know, you can
Nice.
Yeah, you just need to plug in the contract number there. And again, this is all like part of our ecosystem, right? What we're giving to Pulse Chain for free, right? We didn't ask any money to build this. The contracts work flawlessly. We've actually seen over, obviously not everybody, like some people came to test it out and stuff, but we've seen over, I don't know, like 600 like different contract deployments, you know, probably more, like maybe 700. If you look at the contract that's running under the hood, you see like 700 different deployments. So technically, and then actually if you scroll up to the nav bar, and if you go back to that tokens page, tokens, yeah, it's gonna take a little bit to load, but I think you'll need to actually type in on the URL. I think it'll be easier if you type in on the URL, like on the URL itself, like PulseLorian.com/tokens, say factory tokens instead of tokens on the URL. If you, factory tokens. Yeah. And then
there we go.
So these are contracts that people already deployed using, you know, this token deployer, and like these tokens are not only like people are creating their own ecosystems, like Zero. You know, it was a community member. Armor, you know, has been around the community for ages. And for example, he's deploying his own ecosystem, right? And that's not his only token. That's the only token that we listed there, but there's more. He's pairing it with other tokens that are doing buy and burn and different like burn percentages, and he's using that token to pair with Reflux, pair with Vortex, pair with the tokens he likes within like PulseLorian ecosystem. And that's just, again, extending that LP web, generating more ARB, generating more yield, empowering users. And and you can see, you know, like gathered up like $2,400 of liquidity that was deployed from scratch, you know, and is generating a little bit of
bro. That's like and that's the thing. We're at the bottom, bro. Once Pulse Chain goes up, this 10x's.
Yeah.
Now you got 50 grand in liquidity in the top 3 pools.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then this is just a few, right? And then again, what this is doing, it's, we all know Metcalfe's law, right? So Metcalfe's law, like the more that our network grows, more user base grows, and people believe in these contracts and start DCAing. It's exponential, right? The growth. But what we're building is actually the Reed's law, right? It's like the communities within the communities. So it creates like
Yeah, no, I like that.
Yeah, it creates additional nodes that expand into like other like nodes with like more users, right, with their own little community. But it's feeding back into the PulseLorian, because every single one of these contracts, they are inevitably like buying back some of like a reflux and how do I say, like, PBSKR, and it's strengthening the community as a whole. So yeah, that's magic mean money. It yields pulse as well, similar to reflux. It's a meme token on Pulse Chain. I don't know if many people know, but it's part of our ecosystem, right? And
That's all your contracts are announced, Bill. So anyone that's like all these people out here, they're like, oh, they diluted the ecosystem. God, they are so stupid. Like they don't even understand. Like a coin like this, right? Like what I would do with this coin is I would, when this if Pulse Chain 10 or not, I would even do it now. Maybe take out 30% of the liquidity from this pair here and take an MMM and pair it up with, I don't know, pair it up with Elixir, pair it up with P-Basker, and just start creating these other pools. And when the more volume, you'll start creating bot volume. And
Yep.
that's what took me a while to comprehend and understand what was going on. And when Coach explained it to me, it was just like, oh my God, like this is so next level, because it's going to get to a point when everyone starts to see it, it's going to incentivize people to say, all right, well, if I'm just holding this and I'm holding Pulse Chain, it's super deflationary, I'm just burning supply. Why wouldn't I just throw it in the liquidity pool or just create my own little liquidity pool? And when people start doing that, it's going to, the bots will start going crazy, bro. And you have such a good foundation here. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And, I that's why I'm here to, support as
100%.
much as I can.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. And the thing is, like, I think people don't take into account, they might see, like, obviously there's much stronger tokens in Pulse Chain, like Teddy Bear, there's thick liquidity there, right, etc. Our liquidity is not as thick yet. But what people don't take into consideration is, like, these tokens are all launched like from scratch, right? Like all of this liquidity, like obviously these are the factory tokens. This is what community is starting to launch. There's one that's actually not there. There's two that are not showing there, like Satoshi and like Creds from Galactic Creds. But it not only it adds up, but it's all launched from scratch, right? So it's not like I put in like $1,000 from my money on Vortex. No, Vortex was launched from scratch. It's just $1,000 of value that's now there. And it's not only $1,000 of value, because $7,000 were already yielded back to holders, and another like $10,000 were burnt. So it's actually, close to $30,000 of value on that single token alone, right? Just generated from scratch, and the thing is, Elixir itself, right, the token that's powering the farm, what we're doing, we're using it because it gets emitted, right? We're using it to extend it throughout every single pair, right? And we're also using it to buy the tokens itself. We can buy it directly, right? So, and remove more tokens out of the market if you believe in the project. And not only that, right? You have your PulseX, Pulse traditional farm, RH farm, and you're yielding ink. What if I believe in PulseLorian project, right? Obviously. What if I have a farm there, and what I'm doing with my farm is like half of that yield I'm reinvesting in the RH tokens in the RH farm, and then half of the yield I'm just using it to buy and burn PulseLorian tokens, or I'm using it to create other LPs with PulseLorian tokens tied to ink, or whatever. So it's like the way it is, it's like this ecosystem, it has all of these like tokens that yields all of the assets that you really want, right? Ink, DAI, PDAI, like PLS, PLSX, PWET, Teddy Bear, PTGC, everything that you might like, the top trending tokens. And then plus you have a yield farm where the community is totally in control. Plus you have this LP web that's being extended throughout all of these tokens. Plus you have this factory, right? Which people can deploy their own ecosystems, and it will feed back into the ecosystem itself, right? With those tiny transactions, tiny buy and burns. And then you have in tandem like those accelerators, buy and burn protocols working in all of these different contracts, working to make Elixir deflationary. And then you also have like the DAO itself, right? So you're voting on like where I'm gonna incentivize the reward allocation. So like one of the pools itself is a pool from a token from the community member, like BSKY, BSKR. So he deployed this token BSKY, and he had some Elixir. He submitted a proposal, community voted on, and boom, he has now a farm. Not only he has this yield token that's yielding something in ecosystem that he's building out himself, but he deployed a pool to yield Elixir, and he collected $180 to feed back into his ecosystem, right? And that just helps everything, you know, because now
where's the RFX and Pulse pool? Is that on? Do I have to do that on PulseX?
Yeah, so mostly here on the yield farm, what we've been incentivizing is more, because the Pulse RFX pair is already incentivized naturally through its own tokenomics on the PulseX liquidity pool, right? So we want to.
So I gotta just do that one. Okay, I was gonna say because I saw the PulseX one on there, so I gotta go into.
But on the
add
yield
that
farm
here.
itself, we're giving options to incentivize liquidity through other pairs, right? Like PLSX, Elixir, right? But we could also do it through the contract itself, right? So
All right. So now I'm gonna add this in here. The RFX. I don't know why I haven't. I should have done this 7 months ago, but
yeah, I mean, no
you
worries.
know, it is what it is.
Yeah,
You know, that's the thing. It's you just forget about stuff. You don't pay attention, and
man,
this cost me so much in fees.
I think people like us who are in crypto, like, you know, full time, you know, I think we play around so much, so many different chains, so many different tokens, wallets, that you forget stuff. You know? like
Yeah.
I found a wallet the other day. I didn't know I had like, you know, funds. I was like, oh, this is nice. You know,
Bro, dude, it's like,
it was a nice
it's,
surprise.
yeah,
You start forgetting stuff.
it's like you find it, you're like, oh my god, if I had just done something, like did anything with this, it's just sitting. It's a great bonus to find, but like, you know, for 6 months, I didn't even know that the TG Zen sent me some UFO like right as it launched. I didn't know about it for like 5 months.
Yeah.
And then I added the token to my wallet, and I was like, oh my god. So
like
I found it, and I put it. Yeah, and I put it into the UFO hex pool, and it's absolutely crushing. Like I've earned more hex and UFO by like a significant amount. And so what's awesome about these pools, and I think it can happen for you too. So what happened was he's got with UFO, it's on PTGC's website, and it's the same thing. They got liquidity pools like you have here. Well, his PDAI and UFO pool started getting huge. It's got a couple $100,000 in there. Well, once it got to a certain level, he saw that there was a $50,000 purchase of PDAI that came through on PulseX, and it routed $20,000 of it through his UFO PDAI pool.
Whoa.
So once your liquidity pools start to get to a certain size, the PulseX auto router, if you have, you know, the cheapest or the best route, it'll send it to your pools. So if your RFX pool, say you know, someone did an RFX and Teddy Bear pool, and it got, you know, 100K in liquidity, and someone goes in and wants to buy PDAI from something, and they buy $5,000 worth. there's a chance it could get routed to one of your pools. And that's awesome. Like, that's a huge bonus for people on Pulse Chain that and TG's the gray. He's such a smart guy, like such a nice guy, so smart. And the fact that he didn't know that was even possible was just like, holy shit, Pulse Chain has so many little things inside of it that make it just so much better than all these other chains out here. And you have to use it and play with it to figure these things out. There's no one out here that's going to just have a little tweet that shows you all the little hacks and how to do the best. It doesn't work like that.
And I think the reason for that is because the people who are on Pulse Chain are indeed the people that are like OGs in crypto, right? Like the people, for you to have heard about like Pulse Chain sacrifice, you're already like deep into the rabbit hole, right? So, and the people who are deep into the rabbit hole, they're like usually deploying like the more innovative like stuff, right? So, So, I mean, like what we're missing on PulseLorian ecosystem, it literally is just like more demand, like more users, but it doesn't even need to be like that much. Like when you think of crypto in the long run, like you think like 5-10 years, like it's silly, like assuming obviously Pulse Chain is successful, that we cannot add like 100 users within like five years. And let's say these 100 users are loyal people, who are like maybe like loyal and like have like this decent amount of like money to invest, and each are putting like maybe $500, $1,000, as a DCA. So that would be like $100,000 or $50,000 of like capital inflow. Imagine what it would do with these liquidity pools and prices. It would like throw everything into like the stratosphere. So and we're talking about open protocol 24/7, open to like 8 billion people around the globe. Obviously not 8 billion people because but like however many billions can invest, and have access to a computer or a phone and want to like dig a little bit deeper, and the community itself, we know there's some people who are like already like die hard loyal, which is also the principle on like what we stand for. That's why we chose like the Mandalorian type of the figure, right? It's all based on loyalty, right? It's because without loyalty, there's no project, right? It's just like okay, it's good either way. Like if you buy and you leave, what happens is you end up like burning and leaving a little bit of yield behind for whoever really believes in the project long term. So that's all we're really missing, because the way the ecosystem is structured as of now, it's already pretty solid, right? Like over 20 tokens, with like LP webs extended not only through Elixir, but Wealth is another LP web that we have. PBSKR is another token that's pretty much paired throughout like these tokens. And again, like the DAO, the token farm, the token factory, and accelerators, and and a lot of these intricacies of tokens that buy and burn each other, right? So it's working, man. Like, so I see like and again, we're not an influencer that we are on YouTube. We didn't start this project pretty much all of these tokens launched from scratch, a couple $100. But when you add up all of this liquidity, there's like easily over like 150,000 in liquidity spread out like throughout these tokens. And yeah, it's exciting to see, man. I didn't think honestly that when we started, obviously like ideas came along the way, because we're total like grassroots cypherpunk movement type of community, that like it would extend to this like level of like intricacy and detail. And to be honest, all credits to our dev, contract dev, which I've mentioned multiple times. Ramurd, he's a brilliant guy. Again, all of these contracts built by a guy who has 30 years of programming experience, and leading tech teams across the globe, Fortune 500 tech companies. So it's not like all the stuff you see here. It's what crypto is about. True DeFi, true decentralization, no admin keys, verifiable, and features that you don't see. What you see in crypto right now is bunch of influencers launching like shit tokens, some influencers rugging their own tokens, some influencers abandoning it and going to other chains. And we've done the exact opposite. We actually kept building and delivering value like from scratch. So it's going to be exciting to see, but definitely we need post-chain community. We're nothing, project is nothing without the community support, people believing in it. But it's the way it is, it's already built to last, right? And truth of the fact is, these contracts, the way they work, they're aside from the farm itself, they are all pretty much, aside from, we have single site staking contracts as well, like PLBSKR, if you will open it up, but they're all auto staking, right? You don't even need to connect your wallet to the front end, and it will like yield. So we have single site staking, kind of like Hex as well, with like PLBSKR. You just buy some and select the amount of you want to stake, and you'll see your little stake there, and it's going to yield you pretty much like around 70%, 100% APR. That's what we've been seeing. And single site staking type of similar contract type to kind of Hex. There's a penalty on unstake, but it's not like steep like Hex where you get nuked completely. So the max penalty is 13%.
That's not bad. Well, a lot of things I do right now, I do one of the AI coins, GPU. It's a 30-month revolve. You have to lock it up and unlock it every 30 days.
Yeah.
If you do it early, I think they start with like a 30% unstaking fee, and they drop it 1% a day. So
yeah,
they start way higher. So that's not bad.
Yeah, so this was 13% at the start, and it drops 1% every 4 weeks. So after 1 year, there's zero penalty. But you can unstake before, because the APR you get, it's pretty high. So it's approximately 100%. So within 3 to 4 months, you probably already made back your APR to cover the penalty easily.
Yeah.
So that's just another example of contract that we have, right? So it's we literally have like all different types of contracts, as I mentioned, reflection,
Yeah.
Incentive type of token that serves for a DAO, like single site staking, like auto staking for yield tokens, like buyback and burn protocols. So it truly is like a DeFi ecosystem on PulseChain, and my opinion, probably one of the most undervalued ecosystems, because we see projects that have like way higher liquidity, way higher like market cap, etc., but they have nothing like backing it. It's like it's a meme coin, right? That does nothing, but it has like some influencer that has like a good following, that shielded type of thing. And we want to like bring more eyes into PulseLorian, because it legit, it's just adding value to the chain, right? And the way these contracts work, it's also not like competing with any other project, because it's just adding value to it, right? Whenever you buy like Texan, for example, like Ranger X, it's buying and burning Texan, right? Whenever you buy like Ewok, it's buying and it's buying and like doing some trades on Teddy Bear. So it's actually helping Teddy Bear in terms of like transaction count, volume, right? So they're all helping the ecosystem, right? It's not like competing or trying to snack market. There's so we've seen similar ecosystems try to emulate what we've done, but truly they haven't been able to replicate what we built, because it truly, there's a whole nother level of development that goes into it. So they have some reward tokens, but they don't have incentive for liquidity. They don't have a yield farm. They don't have an accelerator. They don't have like a token factory that's feeding back into the ecosystem.
DAO.
Yeah, a DAO. So it's like, so that's why I say like within like this area, I think like we're unmatched. Obviously there might be somebody that can come up and try to like emulate what we did, but it truly is a lot of work, like extending out this web of LPs, a yield farm. So And the cool thing of my Twitter account, like, I was following Stylo Zero. I like we have like good relationship with Stylo, right?
Oh
Obviously.
yeah, Stylo's the man.
Yeah, he's great. And then so I was following his
Yeah.
Twitter strategies, and man, like the way we are at with the Twitter account, we'll probably also be able to get it monetized like pretty soon, I'd say, like within like a month, 2 months. And the idea of, obviously it's a if, but like if monetized, if we keep at that rate,
Yeah.
what we're posting,
Yeah, it's
we
hard, bro, because it's I looked at that he sent it over, and I was like, dude, this is great. But then I realized, like, oh
right.
shit, this is I'm gonna have to spend like a couple hours a day dedicating my time to tweeting, and I just
Yeah,
can't do it.
it is
I
a
just
grind.
hate it.
Yeah, it is a grind. I don't like it either. Again, all of this stuff I do because I believe in the power of these protocols. I believe in the community.
Yeah,
And then I'm just trying to do my part to help out, and I see people doing like the same, and it's just gonna help out post chain in general, because when I'm tweeting stuff, I'm tweeting about post chain. So
Mhm.
I mean, hopefully we'll get monetized, and like, yeah, if it's a couple $100 here and there, I'll be feeding it back into the ecosystem, obviously. And yeah, so I mean, it's pretty much like a gist where you can obviously dive deeper in any point like that you want to dive deeper. But I feel it's like one project that definitely overlooked on Pulse Chain. I think people might like, that's the impression I get. People think like we're just deploying reflection tokens to get a pump and dump type of thing, but it's truly the opposite. A lot of these tokens we get like minimal to no dev allocation. So actually, the token we launched last week got 0 dev allocation. So basically, we deploy the token for the community, right? And yeah, and with so many powerful features, right? So yeah, definitely people should be looking into this, and like it's like we're not going to go away. So we've been here day one. So
Yeah, bro, you guys are doing. You've been on a couple times here. It's been probably almost like a year to the
yeah,
date, probably from one of the first times you came on when VRX, RFX were launching, and like, I don't know how people can hate on projects that are building. They're not leeching from the community. All the contracts are renounced, and like, if people understand PTGC and Alien and Sunny's ecosystem. All you guys are doing very similar things, and they all can function with all of us sitting on our asses doing nothing. If we just provide liquidity, we get enough different pools set up between the community. We can all just sit and watch the bots pump our bags and just keep burning these coins. And I think I'm gonna start really trying to convey that message of, look, with these coins, you buy it and you just throw it in liquidity pools, just thicken them, or create your own and just create more opportunity for the bots to come through, create more volume, and it just
yeah,
doesn't stop.
I think I have no doubt Pulse Chain and like us and like other projects on Pulse Chain that are already doing great, that we will all succeed, because it's just a matter of time, because
Mhm.
like the whole way the ecosystem, the tokenomics of these tokens are structured is just to make them more valuable over time, right? And fiat is just going to
Yep.
get inflated. So and I don't know, obviously, against like PulseX, whether they're going to be appreciate more, but against fiat, it's kind of no brainer, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the size of these protocols, right? We don't need that many people like that believe in it, like to like add some to liquidity, buy some like DCA every month type of thing for it to generate like value and keep growing in value. And the thing is, once things start pumping, is like the people flip a switch, right? Like the same with Pulse Chain,
Yep.
everything's bearish. Once it starts going, like
Yeah.
people see it like slow, steady rise. Like people flip a switch and then they become ultra bullish, and they're like euphoria everywhere and like
Yeah.
shit talking people everywhere.
Yeah. And then you have that when things are good, and then these coins in the next bear market, like if people understand it and they can just leave coins in there in the LP pools and just keep these coins burning, and burning, Like we're going to start being at like 40% burnt. Some of these supplies, it's going to give you getting to numbers where people are going to have to look.
We have so you saw like RFX 19% burnt, man. Like that's with like our like small.
And Pulse Chain has been dead.
And Pulse
we
Chain
haven't seen like, more than like 50 million in volume in 24 hours. Nothing.
Vortex 15% burn. We have Inkex, which actually we burnt a little bit at launch, but it already burnt like actually over 52% of the supply as well. So yeah, I mean,
they're going to get to a point. They just start. It's inevitable. Once you keep burnt, once anyone who's selling is gone, and people start to realize, new people, oh God, if I just buy a bag and literally just put it away, put it in an LP pool, just leave it forever, it can't stop.
Yep. And yeah, and like for me, the way I see it, like we have like Pulse X farms, right? Generating that ink. That ink is gonna just go like buying or adding to liquidity, or so it's gonna be little by little. But it's a matter of time, and like it's once things like hit like that like section where like it's like people realize it's not gonna go down, and it's another thing, like these are very as a price that like scares people and the new investor. Like these are very volatile assets, right? It drops 90, 95, 99%. It's not because people are scamming you. It's the nature of this market, since it's very, very new and, and in its infancy, and especially like people like get in like at a small project. There's like, a couple $100, they can get a huge position, right? And like obviously it's going to ride it up and sell, but that cycle repeats, right? But throughout all those period, all that period, you get more burn, more yield, metrics improve, and then eventually those sellers get exhausted, and it's just going to slowly rise. And like when sellers get exhausted, it just doesn't go down, and that's what's happening with our protocols. But it's just like it's only going down in dollar values because Pulse is going down, right? And we're all tied to Pulse, and Pulse needs to succeed.
Yeah, but if you look the last couple of weeks, it's I think since May.
Yeah.
No, since June, May or June. Yeah, you guys have been moving up against Pulse Chain, so that's all that matters.
Like if you want to hop on the Dex Screener, Vibra, like if you can hop on Dex Screener, I just want to show you like PBSKR. If you search PBSKR, for example, V2 PLS, and then you you price it against PLS, like right against PLS up there, and like do like the log, like the daily.
I like the daily.
And then just like zoom out, like you see like the trend is up, right? You see like it goes up all the time. Like if you look at WLT, another one of our tokens, like, and you see it's just like 51 transactions, just buys, literally no sells. These are all like the tiny little buys from like that are
the bots. Yeah. And though that's where if this liquidity had 20K in it, these bot transactions would be much bigger.
Yep, definitely.
Like it's all relevant. So as people understand that and they see the upside, it's just bro, it's a shitty time right now for Pulse. But once you understand this stuff, it's a no-brainer, and it's so easy to connect the dots. And
and then if you search like WLT, like for example, wealth, that one, for example, and again, price it in like PLS, and like zoom out, put it in log, like shit goes up,
like log. It's a log doesn't even really do anything, it just kind of gives you that little first quick
it's
there.
Like these tokens are going up, so it like obviously not all. We have like some that dumped and not as successful as it's the market, but these are like wealth is one that's like there's areas within our ecosystem that are doing buy and burns of wealth, right? So you see like 69 transactions. This is a small token, like right, it's like 2.5k liquidity. It's supposed usually when you see contracts like that, they're like usually dead, like unless like something
Yeah.
is happening. But this is pretty much just like bot activity,
Yeah.
as I said, it only increases as these liquidity pools increases.
Yeah.
So
And this only can happen on Pulse Chain. Like this stuff, you can't do this on these other chains. We
yeah,
tried with a couple coins, and for some
yeah,
reason, it's just not the same. So we got something special here.
yeah,
And yeah, guys, like that
yeah.
liquidity doubles, the volume doubles without any humans, and it really is fascinating. And we got some very exciting years ahead of us to come for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think like the worst is over. I think a couple of things I'd like to see on Pulse Chain like better. It's just like communities, like like we work together. Stop like fighting each other, right? And
Yeah.
like wash out all the grifters and scammers, right? And then like I think like the Pulse chain itself, like it needs a better block explorer, and like the PulseX, it's kind of buggy, man. So it's like
Yeah.
it needs to improve that user experience, because that throws off like people who might be like new to crypto and like, but I mean, but we'll get there. It's just like everybody's like put tons of work and like putting their lives into this, and I'm sure
Mhm.
everybody will get like rewarded handsomely. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll all pay off. Patience and just being here, sticking it out. The volatility, it sucks on the downside, but when it comes to the upside, it's a lot more fun.
Yeah, man. Like things can rise pretty fast. Like the same way it goes down, it's just like and it's easier to rise, right? Like now that we've been like down so much. And yeah, I'm
Mhm.
very bullish on PulseX. Like that ratio just keeps getting better. So that's one I'm
Yeah,
trying to like accumulate.
definitely. Awesome. Well, yeah, we've been going for a couple hours here. Probably a good place to wrap it up. I gotta get running. So all 60 of you guys in here, if you're not following PulseLorian, definitely follow him on Twitter. Check out PulseLorian.com. And I mean, at the bottom right now, double rewards back with Pulse. Like, what the hell is the downside to throw in, $50 in each side of that liquidity pool and just earning rewards throughout the entire, forever if you want. Like right now, I look at them like, wow, $100 or whatever just went into that pool. Like that's a night out or going to get some dinner. So just let that thing sit for the next 5 to 10 years. And that's how you make insane gains. Yeah, it's fun, short term, cycle to cycle. But some of these reflection coins like this, I'm like, after seeing what Richard did when ETH came out and how he bought into pretty much every single ICO, every single coin that came out. When he got his coins, he'd never sold any of them. He put them all into liquidity pools, and they've just been sitting there ever since. Some of them been like 8 years plus now. So I can't imagine what those look like. So I see that, and I was just like, okay, I'm replicating what Richard did.
Yeah, that's a good strategy, man. I also need to do the same. Yeah, and then again, Vibra, thanks a lot for all the time, like all the like ideas and like the exchange. And yeah,
Yeah,
man, like
brother.
we're in this for the long term, like, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly, bro. I got 15-year stake, so I'm gonna be here until 2037 at least.
Same here. Same here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. All right,
uh,
guys. We'll definitely check out PulseLorian. Appreciate all you 60 guys that are in here now. All you guys, we will be back tomorrow night with the regular stream. And yeah, it was definitely a good chat. I'm such an idiot for not having my stuff in liquidity pools, but hey, that's why you have PulseLorian back on stream. Get a refresh on the ecosystem, and then you get your shit in back in line there.
awesome. Yeah, have a great weekend too, like Vibra, and we'll keep in touch, man.
Yeah, you too, bro. We'll talk soon.
Take care, man.